Hey everybody, welcome to Tangle 7. Now that we've got the setup out of the way, let's do some actual development. This series is going to do things a little bit different than most, where they pick one isolated topic and cover it from start to finish. Instead, we're going to jump right in to the deep end of the pool and do everything all at once. There's a couple of benefits to this. One is this is actually how usually you learn new things when you're a software developer. And also, it's going to provide more context, which is often lacking. You don't really know how everything fits together. So if some of this seems too confusing or over your head at that point, just let it be. Let it wash over you. I'm going to be putting links at various parts in the series to go into greater depth about things. So, if you think that I haven't really explained something fully, that is always going to be the case. No matter what you're learning, there is a big fractal tangle to explore. But in the spirit of getting something done, let's just dive right in. Okay, this is a development loop. I talk a lot about this in my consulting when I describe the best way of working and what you can call true agile DevOps short cycling. So we start here with this piece called epics. Epics are high-level requirements, sometimes called features. For our purposes, features are the same as epics. I use this term because Jira uses this term, and also because the term feature is overused in different contexts. To make epics, we're going to use Confluence, which is a wiki, and Mira, which is a whiteboarding tool. And this is the highest level view of what we got to get going. And then we break it down a little bit further and make some user experience designs using a lo-fi tool like Balsamiq or a higher resolution version from Figma. And then you make individually testable stories using Jira. And you can add some detail using a tool like Lucidchart if you want to add some UML or some entity relationships or something like that, just as a way of describing more fully what you want to get done. So all of this is in preparation for the real meat and potatoes, which is the Gherkin language description of behavior that says specifically what the story should do. And we'll talk a lot about Cucumber, which is the tool that implements Gherkin that we'll use, and Postman, which is a way of describing and testing APIs. Both of these things are the real truth. If it's not in the Gherkin, if it's not in the API, then it's not what we asked for. All of this stuff together contributes to something called the definition of ready, or DOR. Every story gets evaluated according to the definition of ready to determine if the story is ready to proceed into an actual sprint and be developed. All right, so the team gets together, they review the stories, they look at the Gherkin, they say, I understand what's going on, and it gets put into the sprint. And that's the right side of this loop. At which point we'll make tests first. This is test-driven development. We'll use Selenium to do UX tests. We'll use JUnit 5 to do unit testing. We'll use an IDE like IntelliJ and a containerization tool like Docker to get the code working. Our goal should be to make tests that initially fail, which are red, and then write the code so that they pass, so it's green. And that's called red-green refactor. At that point, we're done. We don't have to have a QA period. We don't have to test things later. So then we do a pull request and we merge our working code into a main branch or a different branch, and it gets automatically deployed to an environment using GitHub and a cloud provider like AWS. I'll be using GitHub Actions and AWS CDK to do this. And at that point, magically, it'll just create the application anew, and it'll be able to be reviewed by any stakeholders that want, and they'll be able to compare the finished product with the initial specification and say, yes, this story met the definition of done, DoD, and that is short cycle agile DevOps delivery. As I said, if any of this went over your head, don't worry about it. In fact, somewhat down the line, you should come back and listen to this again, and I bet you'll be surprised at how much you understand. So, what am I going to build? This is the big question. I'm going to go to my brand new Confluence page. I'm just going to create a page. Let's not think too hard about this. So, it's really important to be just in time. Have the confidence that you can go back and change things. Just keep moving forward. The thing about software development is it's exploratory. There is no right answer. So I'm just going to put a bunch of epics here and see what we want to do. So what I want to build is, I'm going to build a blogging platform. I chose to do blogging for two reasons. One is I want to actually make the website that is going to support this course. And so there's going to be a text component to these episodes. And easiest way to do that is to have some kind of a blog or some kind of content management system. And the other is that this is a really good example of how to make a web application. It's a full and useful tool, not like a pet shop demo, but something that you can actually use to make your own websites from. All right, so where do we start with a blogging platform? All right, so I'm going to start off with displaying some content. The nugget of content we're going to call an entry. So that's like an article, but it's going to be more general than that. Entry, addition, updating, removal, and editing. So this is basic database stuff. This is going to be an API. And let's put that here for now. Now, so that's one thing that we want to do. And the next one is going to be to display this information, right? And that's going to be UX. We need some kind of an app nav bar author sign up login authentication. This is a big topic, by the way. It sounds like, in the old days, this was actually really easy to do, but it's become a much bigger deal. Let's switch back to the dev loop and see what's next. Now, it doesn't have to be, waterfall in the sense you can kind of go back and forth, especially if you're the same person doing all of it, which I would encourage you try to be that person, at least initially, so that you learn all the jobs. This is kind of an important thing. Since this is a pretty well understood topic area, I'm going to just jump right into Balsamiq and start building out the UX here because I think it's going to help you visualize what I'm talking about. So when you're first learning how to use Balsamiq, the best thing to do is to just go through everything that's up here and drag them out and look at them and play with them. Just they're all pretty simple, but it's good to know what's available. So I would go through in all mode and then just drag everything out and take a look at it. And then go through and look at the different categories just to see what's here. Because to really use Balsamiq, you want to be able to just brainstorm. And the only way you can do that is if you know everything that's in here. First thing is let's create a browser. We'll call this big fractal Tangle. And that should be enough for now. And then I'm going to make this into a web page. I'm going to lock this down so that I don't have to worry about moving it around. The first things we need are a link bar, which I can use for a nav. So I'm not going to bother with the actual text of this yet, but and then some kind of a logo. And I'll just put this over here, like a person's face here, maybe mine. And you know what? Let's just do it this way. And now some kind of container. So I'm going to put a side nav over here. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but we're just going to call it a side nav. And I also want to have, do I want to have a tab bar? No. So I'll just do another rectangle here. Actually, I think the best thing to do would be to make like, this is going to be like a navigation thing here with a side nav. Let's unlock this. Make it smaller. So this will have like the prev and the next, and this will be some kind of a way of going around it. And then as far as the rest of it goes, we'll have some kind of markup. So I'll put a title, which this feels way too big. So I'm going to go with a subtitle. And some text. There's a different squiggly one. That's a squiggly line, and then there's a squiggly. Could have sworn there was a squiggly paragraph somewhere. Quick add, squig, block of text. There we go. Sometimes if you can't find it, this is the easiest way to do it. All right, so get rid of this, put the subtitle in, and maybe do this. And let's put some smaller squiggles in this. All right, I'll just add this down here, and then I can make it smaller. One, blah, two, blah. And of course, this is not the way I want it, but all right. Anyway, the point is to get this as a general thing, and then I can put another one of these. And this time I'm going to do previous something like that, and throw this in here. I don't know why it's doing this. Let's see. Here, let's put it in again. Oh, they're commas. That's why. Previous contents next. And then I can put it in like this. This is enough to get started. Don't be too in love with anything that you're making that you spend too much time on it. Like, I don't particularly like that this isn't right justified. I'm actually surprised by that. Let's see. All right, so this should go over here. And instead of these, I'm going to go with about episodes, sign up, login, and I gotta make this smaller. And then we get something that resembles a web page. That's close enough. Okay, so now what do? Let's save it as a project. Here, let's put it in. Where's this users Tangle? That's not what I want. I want it to work. And I'm going to just do designs and call this entry view. All right, and then I'm going to export it. All right, let's take a look. It's nice. See, that didn't take very long at all. So now I'm going to add it to, I'm going to just put it here for now until I start building out the rest of this. Publish the page. That's good first step. Thanks for listening.